All right, so here, first step is going to be, you could pick two different things. You could either split it up or you could rewrite the radical. It does not matter which one you do. For some reason, I always like kind of rewrite the radical first, but you could split it up first and that would be fine too. All right, so you have this dw, and then I would look at this denominator and say, okay, it's just one term in the denominator. So I'm going to split it up. This is the last question of the business calc notes. We made it, you guys. We made it. All right, so we are going to enjoy it. So we're going to have w over w to the 1/2 minus 6 over w to the 1/2 dw. Then I will subtract the exponents. So I have 1 minus 1/2. Again, I'm just trying to simplify as much as possible. Remember, the bigger exponent is where you end. The bigger exponent here is in the numerator. So when I take 1 minus 1/2, that 1 converts into a 2 over 2. So that is going to give us a w to the 1/2 minus 6. This w to the 1/2 will come up as a negative 1/2. And then we have our 16, our 0, and our dw. Now we can integrate by doing the add 1 to the exponent, divide by the new exponent. So w to the 1/2 becomes a 3/2, divide by 3/2. The 6 takes along. The negative 1/2 plus 1 goes to a 2 over 2. So that's w to the 1/2 over 1/2. And then we have our bounds, so we don't write the plus c, we write 16 to 0. And then we're going to flip these fractions. So that's going to become 2 over 3 w to the 3/2 minus 2, I'm going to write this here, 2 over 1, so just 12 w to the 1/2, and then 16 to 0. Then we plug in upper minus our lower bound. So when I plug in the upper bound, these do cross out. I'll go ahead and write it out just for emphasis. The upper bound of 0, we'll see that those cross out, and then the lower bound of 16. Okay, now you can convert this like into radical notation, and that would allow you to do this with mental math. But if you are not doing that, what you would do is you would take 2, 16, and again, I just cannot emphasize this enough. You want to put parentheses around the 3/2 because all of that needs to be raised to the exponent. 3/2. So we have 2, 16, caret, parentheses, 3/2. That's the numerator divided by 3. That gives us our crazy decimal mess. We hit math frac, and that gives us 128 over 3. Over here, you would have minus 12, 16 to the 1/2. If you're putting that in on your calculator, make sure you put that exponent in parentheses. So that's going to be 12 times 4. So you'll have negative, now I distribute. So I'm going to have negative 128 over 3 minus 48. And then I can get my common denominator from there. So the 48 is going to need to get multiplied by 3. I always run out of room. And that's going to give us negative 128 over 3 minus 144 over 3. So you'll take negative 128 minus the 144, and I made a mistake. On the last question, I made a mistake. That is true to form. The mistake that I made is I did not distribute the negative. So I need a negative, and then the negative times the negative will give us a positive times a positive. So you will be taking negative 128 plus 144, and that will give you 16 over 3. So again, that's a good mistake to make. That's a good way to end this because it's a common mistake that students do make. I am not alone in that. So when we're distributing, remember that negative needs to get distributed to the first term, and it also needs to get distributed to the second term. So it will become a positive. So you'll have negative 128 plus the 144 to get 16 over 3.